Hi, this is John Martinez with Midwest Revenue Group, and we train sales teams across the nation to sell more. So a really common issue we see when we first engage with training teams is they want to learn how to convince more people to buy their product or service, and this is kind of a major issue, and the reason why is, number one, it's impossible to convince anyone to do something they don't want to do. They have to have their own reasons, their own motivation to want to do something. And number two, it really stinks to try to do the impossible. And this makes sense. I get it. I understand because, if you look at sales in general, if you look at every movie that's ever been made about salespeople, if you read a lot of sales books and all that kind of stuff, and even a lot of sales training courses, that's what they're all about, is how do we convince someone to take some type of action when they're not ready to take that action. So it makes sense why so many salespeople and sales teams would focus on that. But I want you to think about it in a different context. I want you to think about it like this. If you had zero desire to lose weight, get healthier, get in better shape, live a healthier lifestyle, if you had no desire for any of those things, no internal motivation already for any of those things, could I convince you to diet every day, give up the foods that you love, and to start to exercise instead of doing what you'd rather be doing, which is probably anything except for exercising, right? The answer is probably no, and the reason is it's real simple. You have no motivation to do it. Without a motivation, without an internal why, I will never be able to convince you to put down that fork or to run a mile every morning. It just doesn't make sense. And you understand that, I understand that, but for some reason with sales we think, hey, we can convince people to do stuff, and it's just not the case. What we really want to do in sales is find motivation that already exists. We don't want to convince people to do something they don't want to do. We want to find an internal motivation that's already there, and we want to capitalize on it. We want to really test that motivation to see if it's a compelling reason for our prospect to take action with us, or just to change what they're doing now, who they're buying from, what they're buying, buy a new product or service. That's what we're really testing. And the difference between the two, the difference between trying to create motivation out of thin air and finding internal motivation and capitalizing on it, that's like the difference between trying to push a boulder that's just stationary, that's in one place, hasn't moved in forever, and trying to roll a boulder that's already in motion, right? Imagine the amount of energy and force and brute strength it takes to take a large boulder and just to get it to move even a little bit, even just an inch or two. And now I want you to imagine how easy it is to do, how easy it is to maybe get behind a boulder that's already rolling slowly and just give it a little bit of a shove to roll a little bit quicker and a little bit further. Obviously, in the latter scenario, it takes a lot less effort to do a lot more, to move that boulder a lot further, right? So this is the same as trying to create motivation out of thin air, as opposed to finding motivation that already exists within someone and capitalizing on it. Now, there's one really simple way you can actually do this. There's one simple way you can find out if somebody has an internal motivation to take action. Any reason that's compelling enough to do business with you, in other words. And that question is this. I'm going to give you the framework. I'm going to give you kind of a template, okay? The template is this. It's a two-part question. Part number one, you're in control. You have complete autonomy. Part number two, if you did, why would you? And this is going to help you really find any motivation that already exists. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Let's say we're a realtor and we want to see if someone's going to list their property with us. It might sound like this. Hey, listen, Susan, you can list your property with whoever you want to. You don't have to list it all if you don't want to. But let me ask you this. If you did decide to list with me in my company, why would you? And you're waiting for, well, if you could. Well, if it would help me do this. Well, if it would keep me from doing this. And now we have internal motivation. It already exists, and we could just keep that line of questioning going. Really, Susan, I didn't expect you to say that. Why did you? And we're going deeper and deeper. Let's use another scenario. Let's say, let's use a business-to-business example. Let's say we're an IT service provider, managed services, And we're going into a company that doesn't have any IT services at all. It might sound like this. Hey Bob, listen, you've been running your business for 20 years without any managed services whatsoever. You've done well. Your business is thriving. There's no doubt about that. So obviously this is not something that you need to do to survive. You're already surviving and thriving. But let me ask you this. If you did decide to pick up some managed services and outsource the IT and security and that type of stuff to another company, not even mine, just any other company, why would you? And this will uncover any hidden motivations. Well, if I no longer have to take the time doing it, well, if I know for sure that it's being done right and I don't stress out about it, well, if I can tell my customers that 100% their information is safe, whatever their reason is, now we can get laser focused on their reasons to buy. And that's a much easier sell to make. So hey, listen, if this video, if this message resonated with you, if you found some value in it, please share it with someone else who you think might get a little bit of value out of it themselves.